Good morning, everyone. I, Ms. Shushma Kinderkar, is your host for today. I welcome each and everyone for the 61st virtual webinar, Sadgun Sang Meet, on the topic Food Hygiene and Food Safety Series, Personal Hygiene. The keynote speaker is Ms. Ramachandra Fernandez. Sadgun Sang for food industry. Cleanliness and hygiene has been imbibed into the Indian culture since the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro times. Cleanliness is equally important when it comes to food and its preparation. Cooking, though a clumsy and multitask-oriented process, needs to be carefully handled to ensure that the resulting product is palatable and contains no foreign material. Food safety and food hygiene are important as they ensure that the food you handle and produce is safe for consumption. If food safety and hygiene are not maintained, consumers could become seriously ill with food poisoning and foodborne illnesses. Therefore, food safety and food hygiene are of the utmost importance to protect the health of the consumers. In businesses, food safety and hygiene are of utmost importance as it helps to guard the health of consumers from foodborne illnesses and food poisoning. Sickness occurs when food becomes contaminated by bacteria, viruses, and other germs, making those people unwell who consume the contaminated food. Agenda for the Sadgun Sang meet. 11:5 to 11:7 virtual inauguration by Dr. Sundar Kataria. 11:7 to 11:8 invoking the blessing of deity. 11:8 to 11:10 introduction of the speaker. 11:10 to 11:45 presentation by Ms. Ramachandra Fernandez. 11:45 to 11:50 there will be introduction of the panelists Ramachandra Fernandez, Dr. Udichi Kataria, Mr. Anandpal Singh and Dr. Sundar Kataria. 11:50 to 12:25 there will be a panel discussion followed with question answer session, and finally we will have the closing session from 12:25 to 12:30. About Dr. Sundar Kataria, he is a chairman and managing director for ICS Group Companies. Sadgun Sang, conceived and led by Dr. Sundar Kataria, driven with a mission to elevate the quality, safety, and environmental awareness levels of industry. Sadgun Sang is a series of educative, informative events aiming to illuminate professionals on possible solutions to current issues of industry and economy. Chairman and Managing Director, Dr. Sundar Kataria for ICS. He has done Mechanical Engineer AMIE, Honorary Doctorate into Business Management. His experience is into nuclear RAPP. He started his career in building India's first nuclear power plant at Rawat Bhata in Kota, Rajasthan. Oil and gas, EIL. He contributed in developing India's first oil and gas field at Bombay High since its inception. DNV. He was head of industry and offshore development with DNV for 2 decades. ICS. He is the founder of first Indian conformity assessment and inspection body known as International Certification Services Private Limited, which is a provider of a total quality solution under single umbrella with a wide spectrum of services. He has got Lifetime Achievement Award of NACE Corcon, received several national and international awards. Sir, I request you to virtually inaugurate today's session.
आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Please join us for the recitation of Gayatri Mantra. Introduction of the keynote speaker. The keynote speaker for today is Ms. Ramachandra Fernandez. She is a food safety auditor for ICS International Certification Services, done Bachelor of Science in Biology, 8 years experience as an hygiene officer, food section at United Hypermarket in Dubai, UAE. 7 years experience as fishery establishment auditor in Philippine government, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Ma'am, I request you to please take the session from here. Thank you.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for the good introduction, Ms. Jarna. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning in your country. I am Ramachandra Fernandez. I'm from International Certification Services and I'm the auditor from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Can you hear me all?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So welcome to all of you. We are having our session on personal hygiene. So thank you so much for inviting me as your key speaker on this topic. So before we will start, I'll share my screen, my presentation with you. So everybody can see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have session on personal hygiene. Welcome on my topic. So again, yours truly, Ramachandra Fernandez. I attended training on Train the Trainers and also on HACCP internal auditor in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So we will start. So poor food hygiene will lead to what? So who can give some idea? You can chat
Ma'am,
or
sorry to interrupt. Can you make it a full screen?
oh, okay, for a while.
Click on the from current slide or from the
Okay.
beginning. Okay.
So it's clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So where will the poor food hygiene will lead to? So of course, we all understand that poor food hygiene can lead to food poisoning. So consequences of foodborne illness is food poisoning. Of course, it comes from the waste, from the customer complaints, from the product liability suits, for the loss of customer satisfaction and trust. So the company can have the loss in their businesses when it comes to cost and in the profit if there is no food safety. At every stage, the most crucial factor is the person in contact with the products or dishes. So who is the one who is handling the food? So the one that is handling the food, of course, the person or the food handler of the company, the employee. So the employee should learn the high standards of personal hygiene, which is necessary to stop food contamination. if the staff or the employee of the company is not trained in food safety from the beginning of the work or from the before they will commence at handling food, then failure of food safety is the result. So food handlers. So each company, before they will allow the worker to work in a company, they should undergo training. Because food contamination occurs from inappropriate action. So food handler, what are the results of a food handler? For example, they don't have training. First, bacterial contamination. It's coming from their hands, from their skin, from the hair of the person. So later on, I'll discuss you one by one. Why is it that bacterial contamination from hands, from skin, and from the hair? So food poisoning. From handling the food, going to from the hands of the food handler, going to the food. So that will cause food poisoning if the person who is handling the food is the carrier of bacteria or contamination. Physical contamination. Physical contamination, of course, from the word physical, so it's coming from the hair, from the fingernails, from the jewelry, from the buttons of the shirts, from the candy wrappers, and from the plasters. From the chemical contamination, when the food handlers don't know how to handle cleaning agents, don't know the instruction, from the food handlers who is using the strong perfumes, and food handlers that is not don't know how to use soap, so don't know how to do the hand washing techniques. So this chemical contamination is all coming from the food handler. So what is the importance of food hand washing? Hand washing is very important. All of us understand that why food hand washing is very important, especially now we are in the COVID-19. So even not in the COVID-19, even hand washing is very important to everyone. Wash your hands before and after the handling food, after handling soiled equipment, after using toilet, after coughing, sneezing, and blowing or eating, and after smoking. So there are procedures to wash your hands. It doesn't mean that you're telling that I should wash my hands. Okay, faucet, water, shh, and then you will wash your hands. 5 seconds, okay, I'm done. My hands are clean. So proper hand washing is not, you cannot tell that you cannot contaminate the food or you don't have any more bacteria in your hands if you just wash your hands in 2 seconds. So proper hand washing has procedure. First, you have to wet your hands with warm running water, and then you apply soap. You rub your hands together for 20 seconds. 20 seconds. So if you are a trainer of the company, if you are a food safety trainer, or you are the person in charge of the company, train your staff to wash their hands not only 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds. You should train them for 20 seconds. 20 seconds, if they cannot understand, sing them with happy birthday, and they will know what is that. When you finish the happy birthday song, that is already 20 seconds. Okay? So in a medical way, there is also one standard for the medical hand washing. There is surgical hand washing procedure also. There is different counts on that procedure. But in the food safety issue, we should wash your hands, rub our hands together for 20 seconds, up to the elbows. So wash backs of hands, wrists, backs of hands. Okay, this is very important. That's why I'm discussing with you what is the procedure of hand washing, because I want to impart to all the food safety managers that they should really implicate to the food handlers the proper hand washing procedure. Because at the beginning of the work, that is the first thing that you will do when you enter the company. Okay, so wash the backs of the hands, okay, between fingers, under the fingernails. You can also use the brush, but brush must be soaked in a chlorinated water. And rinse hands well under running water. Dry hands thoroughly with paper towel or hand dryer. So it's in a food company, it should be in a paper towel. Turn off running water with a paper towel, not with the bare hands. So after you use the faucet, so usually in the food company, they are using the knee operated or elbow operated, as long as you are not using the hands in turning off the faucet. Hand hygiene can be maintained by washing regularly and thoroughly. I hope that you have digest what I have said earlier on the procedure of hand washing. So hand washing is very important before entering the food preparation areas, as I have said earlier. So before we handle food, before everything that we are doing, we should first wash our hands to remove dirt, to remove bacteria, to remove contamination coming from our hands. When moving from one area to another, for example, you have decided that your manager called you to transfer to another area. From the receiving area, you have transferred to the packing area. So you, after you have eaten your lunch or your meal, so you should always wash your hands. After taking a break, as I have said earlier. Very important, going to the toilet. So before and after going to the toilet, we should wash our hands. After eating or smoking, after blowing our nose and touching any part of the body. Using cleaning chemicals or touching cleaning cloths. Handling food waste or refuse. Handling garbage. Handling external packaging. So one example of, I'll give you an example of handling the external packaging. We understand that this COVID-19, one person, he's protecting himself from the COVID. And then he's telling that I have prepared everything, I sanitize or take a bath daily. And then yet he accepted a delivery, food delivery. And just because of that packaging material that he handled, he was test positive to COVID-19. So he didn't believe that. How come? So maybe because that one reason, that before you handle the packaging or receive the food pack, so you should also wash your hands. Maybe he touched his nose or everything in his part of the body. So what washing facilities should be provided for hand washing? So the companies, what is the hand washing facility that they should provide? Okay, it should be a sufficient number of suitably located hand wash basins. Sufficient number, meaning if you have 1,000 workers, you need to have only hand washing facility that is only for one person, 1,000? So you should also gauge how many employees do you have. And it should be located where? It should suitably located. So do you think you will put the hand washing in the storage area that is very far from the entrance? Of course, it's a common sense, and we all understand that all hand washing facilities should be placed before the entry. hand-free operated taps. So I have discussed that hand-free operated, meaning the hands cannot touch the faucet. It should be elbow, or it should be knee, or it should be foot operable hand wash basins. In approximately 40 to 45 degrees. Don't put the stuff that it's in the hot running water. It will burn the hands of the stuff. Of course, there should be liquid soap. How will you wash? Washing hands, water, soap, and then sanitizer to remove the dirt. Drying facilities. Drying facilities, it's a tissue paper. And non-hand operable waste bin. Same with the faucet, it should be non-hand operated waste bin. That the staff, after they wash their hands, they can touch the waste bin. So it must not be a hand operated waste bin. Of course, hand wash basins must be clean. It should also be maintained. You should also check the leaking pipes. You should also check if the faucet is working. So even if you have that hand washing facility, you have that hand soap, you have that hand sanitizer, and you have that waste bin, but your faucet is damaged, then it's useless. Never be used to wash food or equipment in the same hand wash basin. Okay, so you use the hand wash basin is separate, especially in the preparation areas. Are we clear on that? So don't also put the signages. The signages, sometimes there is company that that hand washing basin is beside the utensil sink, and the signages is on the utensil sink on how to what is the procedure of hand washing. It was placed in the sink of the utensil sink. And so with the hand soap and the hand sanitizer, it was placed in the utensil sink. Utensil sink, not in the hand washing basin. So be careful with that. So food handlers must wear protective food safety gear. Food safety gear, which means uniform. So they should identify themselves that they are a food handler. Outside clothing. So what are those outside clothing? Outside clothing meaning before we enter the company, that is the cloth that we are wearing. So when we enter the company, we have this what we call uniform. Okay, so food safety managers, food outside clothing can bring other pollutants, can bring bacteria, can bring dirt, and there are some hair strands that can left in the outside clothing, and outside clothing with buttons. I'll explain to you later what is the importance of wearing a uniform apart from the outside clothing. Essential food safety gear. So in the kitchens, they are wearing their kitchen uniform. In the manufacturing company, they have this color-coded uniform. There are some companies that, for example, they have big production. So if you're in the meat section, they will let you wear the red color. Same with the color of the meat. So it's up to you, but make sure that they have this separation from the outside clothing to the uniform inside the company or working clothes. What are these uniform that I am telling? Why? What are the requirements that we should, or what are the things that we should consider when we have our uniform in the company? So we should have headgear. Headgear meaning hairnet to cover the hair. Okay, it should be light colored. Light colored so you can easily identify if the uniform is dirty or not. Cleanable and no pockets. Why? Why is it that no pockets? Because there might be that staff, they're putting their personal things inside their pocket, their cell phones. They're putting on that pocket. And you might we don't know that that will be the sources of the contamination. To ensure maximum protection, uniform should not leave the work. So see the staff when they are having the smoking session or after their break, they're going outside. So I believe more, I can see some companies are practicing this type of attitude that staff, they allow them to go outside after wearing their working uniform. So please train your staff not to do so. Uniforms should be placed in the designated area. So after they are having after they end their work, so it should be placed it should be placed in a basket designated for laundry. So be careful also that they are after they remove their working clothes, and then because they are going out of the company already, they are putting inside their cloakboard or the cabinets or anywhere. So some companies are doing what they are doing is they're putting names on their uniform. So if that will be the case, at least they can trace who put that uniform in any places. It's embroidered name in the backside of the uniform or in the front, so they can identify. So they can give discipline to the staff. The practices of the staff is really sometimes, not only sometimes, but it's a headache for a food safety manager. So of course we can make a solution on them, or we can give a disciplinary action if they put if they're doing if they're doing unhygienic practices. So they should be laundered, of course. We cannot wear uniform every day only one time. For 5 days, only one uniform. They should also be provided with number of uniform so they have time to take it on a laundry shop, or the company is providing laundry company to launder the uniform and put it on at the start of the day. So as I have said earlier, the headgear, it's hats, hairnets, and beard snoods. Beard snoods because there are companies or there are countries that it's not like, for example, in the Middle East, that gents are allowed to make their beard long. So food safety managers are requested to provide them the beard snoods to cover the beard, especially if they are cooks or chef, because the importance for them it's for the religion purposes. That's why they are not cutting the beard. So considering to them, because it's not under the law, or it depends on the country of what I mean is it depends on the country if they allow or not. So in that country like Middle East, so they are allowed to wear the beard snoods to cover the hair. Same with what we are covering with our hair. To prevent head hair from falling onto food. disposable gloves. Disposable gloves is to prevent bacteria onto food. So it's why it should be disposable, because so that if you will use any many times the disposable gloves, it can interact bacterial for a long time in the gloves, and it can be transferred to the food. So we should always use the disposable gloves. To prevent clothing from coming in contact with the food, we use aprons. Like for example, if you are in the kitchen, the sauces will come in your uniform, so better you will use the apron. And working shoes or footwear, especially now. So companies are providing or providing the staff to have that footwear to prevent outside contamination. So same with the uniform from outside clothing before you enter the premises. So you should also have that working shoes, especially in you are in the wet areas. So food handlers should not wear jewelry. Why? It could cause physical contamination. So physical contamination, what will happen if they wear jewelry? Maybe there is a diamonds, and then diamonds put into the food, or yeah, it was dropped into the food, and then the customer have eaten that food. Then maybe he can see diamond, or she can see diamond. She's thinking there is a proposal for her, but it's a contamination actually. It's not a proposal. So parts of the jewelry, it could drop into the food. It could risk of entrapment. Example that machines, so it can entrap the jewelry that the staff is wearing. So what else? For example, the ring, this ring. So if you have that design ring, okay, it could be a niches of dirt. Why? Because if you will remove the ring, if you think all of you, if you will observe your ring, for a long time you did not remove, and try to check it, try to brush it, you can see some dirts. So that's some reason that it could be a niches of dirt. Perfume. Okay, of course, all staff, why staff are not required to spray some perfume in their body? So maybe you have some questions on that. So why do you think if for example you are handling perishable item, or you are handling raw food, and then or the meat, then your perfume is Louis Vuitton or any strong scented perfume? Okay, so it can transfer, the smell also can transfer to the meat. Especially the oil-based perfume, it can be easily, when you rub the perfume in your hand here, then you touch the food. You want your food is smells a branded thing. Okay, bad habits that needs to be avoided. So what are these bad habits that the staff should avoid? They should not do. Even us, we are not aware what is our bad habits that could cause us, or it can be we are not thinking that we can contaminate a food. Okay, using the same spoon for different foods. Okay, you touch the gravy, you touch the soup, you touch the, only you are using one spoon. So is it appropriate or no? So we should train our staff not to do so. Using fingers to taste food. Who tried that? So we are not aware that it should not be. Blowing into bags to open them. So you will blow to open the bag. And how? Maybe you are asking, how will I open the bag? You can scratch it, or you can running water, take water, and then just pull the plastic bag. No need to blow, just to open it. Licking fingers to separate packaging. Again, it's like licking the paper to separate the paper. So it's a no. Breathing into glass or cutlery when polishing. When you have that cutlery, and then you will just wash it to see if it's shiny or not. So it's a big no. Simple, you know, the attitude or the behavior of a person when you are not aware, when you don't have training, so you don't know all of this one. So it's important. I'm doing that one. I don't know that one. So at least you are aware, you can train your staff. What will they do? Coughing or sneezing over the food, of course. So when you cough or you sneeze or you cannot control, some stuff, yeah, they will be telling you, asking you, what will I do if I really can sneeze? So do I have to hold my breath? So no. What you can do is you can sneeze, turn right, and then in your elbow side. So that's the safest thing than sneezing direct onto the food. Because sneezing you cannot really control. This one, biting nails or sucking fingers, and then picking nose. When you are in your workplace, you should also train your staff, train yourself. Presence of mind. Be careful with your action. Okay, because your action can lead to a problem, even a simple action. Especially now, we are not aware. This pandemic that causes us. We should wear masks. We should not touch our face when we are outside. Same thing when you are handling food. Keep fingernails short and clean. Do not wear false nails or nail polish. I hope you all understand what is the purpose of this. Okay, keep fingernails short, clean, because dirt can hide inside our fingernails. Bacteria can hide here. So if you're a food handler, you should always keep fingernails short and clean. That's why there is a monitoring, personal hygiene monitoring daily in a food company. Do not wear false nails or nail polish. It could be cheap and drop into the food. And false eyelashes, because it's removable. It could be dropped into the food again. Personal hygiene, the human being as a source of infection. So I have already, I will summarize to you. First, wash and sanitize hands. Wear single-use gloves. Clean and trim nails. Bath daily. Okay. Keep hair combed and tied. Bath daily because it's a personal behavior that you should take a bath before entering a food premise. Before you entering food premise, you should always be clean with your body. Keep hair comb and tied. Okay, you are working in a food company. You are not going to the fashion event. So you should always keep your hair tied. Food handlers with uninfected cuts and sores. So if you have cuts, wear clean waterproof plaster and then use gloves. Plaster should be colored so it can be identifiable. If you have cuts, boils, or skin infections, then report it to your supervisor. Okay, don't hide it because it's part of the food safety policy of the company and it's part of the regulation that if you have any skin infections or you have boils and cuts, you should inform your supervisor, then you should have treatment. And you are not allowed to handle food. Food handlers with food poisoning symptoms, such as diarrhea or vomiting or suspected of carrying foodborne organisms, example, because of close contact with a confirmed case of typhoid or consuming a meal known to have caused illness, must be excluded. Excluded, you are not allowed to work in a food section area or from any job which would expose of food to risk of contamination. So you have that symptoms, then you should report to your supervisor that I am not feeling well. So you can go to the medical doctor for checkup. So you can also have your monitoring and diagnosis on your symptoms. Regular checkup. So before commencing to work, staff are required to undergo medical examination. So yearly, you should undergo your staff to medical examination to check if they are a carrier. To check if they are safe or fit as food handler or working in a food company. Do you want your staff? You don't know he is already having a tuberculosis or having a Hep B. Then you let him do the commence to work without undergoing medical examination. So it could be a risk in your company. You have your local government who have this health card, or they are issuing health card to see and then indicated in that health card that they are fit to work as food handler. So it's safe for you, for your business, for your company, and safe also for everybody. So all food handlers and those in charge, like supervisors, managers, food safety team, quality assurance, should check that food handlers understand hygiene rules. So you are all responsible on the training and knowledge of your staff. If you don't train them, they don't know. They will just tell you, you did not tell me. Okay, there are some instances that staff are telling that no, you did not tell me that this is the proper thing. Well, in fact, you already tell him that it's a proper thing. So what is the best solution on that? I know, I believe some of the food safety managers are experiencing on that. That instead of the staff is asking for an apology for their actions or behavior. They are denying, they are hand washing their faults. So as a person in charge, or as a quality assurance manager or food safety in charge, you should train them with written report, or let them do the signature during the training. The attendance is very important. Okay, you can send them to a third party training company to train them, and at least they have this certificate that they have attended. Are we clear on that? You will face some charges also, that some staff have customer complaint, and it will boomerang, or the complaint will return to you as a manager. So you can also return to them, to the staff, that you have attended the training. You have, how many times I have sent you the training. So they will be aware of the consequences if, for example, they will not follow you. You have all the evidences that you have trained them, because you cannot stand on them side by side 24 hours or every time they are doing their work, because you are only one and you are handling 5,000 staff. So training is very important. Safe food now for a healthy tomorrow. So food safety is everyone's business. So you should also inculcate in the mind of your staff what is the importance for them, if they will be protecting the food, if they will have that personal hygiene in their self, if they will have the good behavior, what is the impact to the company, not because of the money, but because they are earning, they are taking their salary in your company, but also by protecting the consumers in food safety. Okay, it's not about all the money. You can remind all your staff the importance of personal hygiene in a food company. So food handlers returning from holidays abroad, particularly from countries with warm climates and suspect sanitation, should complete a short medical questionnaire. They should be closely supervised and observe the highest standards of hand washing. So some companies have overseas workers coming from different countries, going to their company. So from the vacation, before let them commencing on work, let them ask for a medical questionnaire. Especially now, we are on the pandemic. So it's a mandatory for a company to ask them. Done. Transferring their illness or existing condition to other co-staff. So what will happen? So even not this pandemic, even the COVID-19, it's a long time requirement that the staff, before commencing to work, coming from abroad, they should have medical questionnaire. It's not new, it's an old procedure. What we are only insisting now, or what I am telling also now, is you can have more stringent procedure, more strict procedure, especially now pandemic. So for the visitors, you should have notice. In a company, you should have notice that all visitors must read food safety rules and signs, sign visitors log. You should have notice upon entrance, before they enter the company, they are aware of your food safety policy. Before entering your company, any visitors, what they should do, what is the requirement? Because even they are not food handler, they can be a source. Supervisors should ensure visitors adhere to the hygiene rules and do not expose food to risk of contamination. They should wear clean protective clothing and observe all personal hygiene rules applying to staff. So as per my experience, I have experienced this company. I go inside. It's still not pandemic that time. It was 10 years ago. So I enter inside that company, and then I was shocked that they already have that time 10 years ago. They have this eye scanning for my body thermometer. Oh, I tell. So okay. So they have this for my body thermometer to check my body temperature if I am sick. It's like I'm going to a doctor, but I'm coming inside the food company, because before I was an inspector to the government of the Philippines. So I was inspecting companies, big companies here. So I have experienced that when I go inside, they are scanning my eyes for my body temperature. That was 10 years ago. And when I enter the food, okay, they tell me, remove your jewelry. Please read the notices on the our food safety policy that we require visitors to cover their not to remove the outside clothing, but wear uniform for visitors. So they let me wear the lab gown, but before I wear the lab gown, they let me vacuum my outside garments. They have this vacuum thing. They vacuum everything. Okay, so I don't know if really it's really very strict implementation on food safety. So they vacuum my uniform. Then after that, I wear the lab gown as their visitor's uniform when going inside the manufacturing company. Then they let me wear the boots. So when I have that boots, they let me soak the boots in the foot bath with chlorination. Then they brush my hand. So when I entered the manufacturing company, again, my uniform as visitor, the lab gown, they put a sticker to remove some strands or any physical thing in my uniform. So that is how how strict they are. So as of this time, some companies are requiring visitors to enter visitor log. Okay, actually, it should be part of your policy that all visitors coming from your company, you should let them write in the visitor log. You should have the questionnaire. Not only for your staff, you should ask them if they have signs and symptoms of fever, flu, because of this COVID-19. So you should have written, not only asking them, but let them write. That's also for your protection for the company. When there is a government inspections, then you can show them that you are implementing the rules. Visitors with food poisoning symptoms or any other conditions which would result in the exclusion of a food handler should not be allowed in the food room. Of course. So these are some examples of visitors questionnaires. Like just you can it's up to you how you make the form, or it's up to you how you make the information on that visitors log. You can provide the question itself, and they will just tick the yes or no. It's up to you on how you make it. So I hope you understand all my presentation today. Thank you so much for joining me on this personal hygiene topic.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now let's start with the panel discussion. We have the 4 panelists over here: Dr. Sundar Kataria, Ms. Ramajendra Fernandez, Dr. Udichi Kataria, and Mr. Anandpal Singh.
Hi, Dr. Kataria.
About Dr. Udichi Kataria, the professor, yeah, an HOD at Gitanjali Institute of Pharmacy, Masters and PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences, Masters in Administration from IASE University. Area of specialization, done more than 14 years of experience in LS University, Rajasthan University of Health Sciences, etc. She has published and reviewed publication in her name. In
ऑडियो बंद हो गया.
yeah, sorry everyone. About Dr. Udichi Kataria, she is a professor and HOD, Gitanjali Institute of Pharmacy,
आ रहा है.
Gitanjali University at Udaipur. She has done master and PhD in pharmaceutical sciences, masters in administration from IASC University, has more than 14 years of experience in academics in various universities like Mumbai University, University, Rajasthan University of Health Sciences, etc. She has published more than 30 research and review publications in her name in many different reputed journals. Is the Faculty of Art of Living, world's biggest volunteer-based NGO, and is associated with it for last 21 years. Mr. Anandpal Singh, he is a regional manager North at ICS International Certification Services Private Limited, BE into Mechanical, qualified engineers in helicopter airframe and engines for repair and second line maintenance of allied aircraft and their associated equipments. Qualified engineers for hydraulic trolley, ground power unit, DG set. Elementary courses in casualty, firefighting, crash, and civil defense from Civil Defense Staff College, Mumbai. Also a lead auditor for ISO 9001-2015, ISO 14001-2015, ISO 45001-2018, ISO 50001-2011, ISO 13485-2015, SA 8000, 2013. I request all the four panelists to please join for the panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I welcome you all in this 61st webinar, which is being conducted to share our knowledge. I thanks the key speaker note and our Dr. Udichi for this. Hygiene is a series of practice performed to preserve health and further to food handlers. According to WHO, hygiene refers to conditions and practices that helps to maintain health and prevent the spread of diseases. And that is what personal hygiene refers to. And personal hygiene is an essential part of food safety compliances adherence. It was very well explained by our keynote speaker, Ms. Ramajendra. Her each and every word was very particular and giving us a brief information about the personal hygiene. I'll request Dr. Udichi to share her views on this.
Thank you, Mr. Anand Pal. Is it audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. And good afternoon, everyone. I thanks first of all Dr. Sundar Kataria, Mr. Sumit Kataria, Mr. Anand Pal Singh, and the ICS team for just helping me contribute and attending this webinar. I really liked Mr. Ramajendra PPT and the presentation. Thank you, ma'am. It was nice hearing you. And I'm from the pharma background, and basically from a pharma background and in an academics of pharma. So when I was going through this webinar and 61st webinar, I had one question in my mind. Is it only we are talking about the industry, food industry, and the safety in the industry where there is whole setup done of the instruments of the making, or the managers are there, the the human personnel, everyone is available, or we should also include and think about the common vendors around us, the food vendors, the restaurants, right? And the thelawalas, the what do you call it as street food, and different packaged food which are from the local background, not only which are international, nationally packed, which are available everywhere. It is like some brands are only available in my city and some brands are only available in your city, because we are dealing with the food. So what is available in that region is packaged and easily available to that region. If you talk of corn, it is easily available in my corn flour. Okay. And now, and I had recently, in our city, we had recently one news floated that amaranth powder, that Rajgira powder, if you know, we take it in during fasting. So when we take it during fasting, there was a scandal with one of the firm where hundreds of people were affected on Ekadashi. They had the symptoms of diarrhea, vomiting, and many were admitted. So where was the lack? What were the checkpoints that packet is so easily available, such a known brand? Blind eye, we buy those packets. Every fasting we do that. Every fasting we use it, and suddenly the same brand, which is running for years, has shown the symptoms on the people. So my my question to all our panelists is, what should be the checkpoints of the local available products?
You have very well taken, ma'am. This was really specifically when we are going to the industries who are already certified. The people are competent. People are well aware about the hygiene and various other quality requirements, and they are very well worried about the brand. But all we don't only rely on them. We rely on the thelawalas and various other local vendors also. And you have very well taken. I'll be expecting some view of Dr. Kataria on this.
Thank you very much, Anandji. I'm very pleased to see Rama. She is from Philippines and she carries a lot of international exposure, working in the UAE, Gulf countries, and even in Philippines. Also, she has been working on very critical position. So she spoke from her heart. I was listening, as Anandji told, each and every word was carrying a lot of weight. That's good. Thank you. And coming to Dr. Udachi, you're most welcome. And we have really noted your concern. It is very, very valid concerns are there. And when I compare India versus Gulf country, UAE, in UAE, such thing does not happen. In India, unfortunately, few things are there which I don't want to spell out. Our FDA was handling it earlier, but there is a good, you can say, light is there that silver lining is there now in the cloud, that now government of India is also working 2005 since, and they have bought the Food Act, and that is being also refined regularly. Plus, they have bought another authority, FSSIA. Now, they are also checking all the products and other things. But India is a vast country, huge country, and there are so many manufacturers, right from Kumchawala to fire this corporate, they are manufacturing. So it is very difficult for India to control. Although we have been adopting now new technology, new system, GMP and the Food Act and FSSAI, even the Codex Alimentary, that is USA, FDA guidelines and all. So a lot of things are happening, but it will take time. I think another maybe half a decade before we come to international standard. Okay. Anyway, that topic we are going to take again, going for almost 15, 30, 40 sessions. So your point, we are going to handle it in that next. Today, we restrict ourselves in cleanliness and hygiene. So let's restrict to that. So I back to Anandji.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. One of the most factor nowadays, when we say it is not there with us in ancient time in India, but now in India, but with the chalta hai attitude, एक बहुत एक common सा attitude हो गया है लोगों के साथ कि चलता है. अब ये चलता है हमें बहुत सारी जगह तकलीफ देता है, और पर्सनल हाइजीन में जिस तरह से Mr. Rama has explained in a very simple and a very basic thing, but still people are not following. Now we as a consumer, when we are going to various food vendors or food taking going to the restaurant or any other places, so that is our responsibility to have all those things in our mind, because we are competent. At least we can give and reflect to that. I'll be asking one question from Dr. Udichi, since she is from the pharmaceutical background. The medical examination which has to be done for the food handlers, what should be the major key requirement supposed to be there in that particular medical report?
See, we usually, for any of the food allergies or the food poisoning, we undergo blood test or we undergo stool test majorly. Majorly, we undergo this test. And one report I was reading, I just could recall when Ms. Ramajendra was saying that how we handle the food. And so when we wash the hands, if you are dealing with the pesticides also in the food, though the remnants are left on the hand, even if you wash it.
Correct.
It is dependent on what, because pesticide will have a repellent even if you wash it. So that has to be checked in the employees, whether if they are dealing with. So it all depends on the raw material you are using in the company. So it varies 1 to 1. But basically for the food, we test for the blood and the stools, and we check for the E. coli, we check for the listeria. These are the organism, bacteria and viruses we check for, which are the major cause of the food allergy or the food poisoning. And we check with the salmonella. So basically, immediately the person is tested for that. Yeah. But as in our pharma companies, we call it as a word as validation.
Validation.
For the quality assurance, validation is to be done. So if you are moving from one experiment to the other experiment, using the same instrument or using the same lab or the same even the slab of the lab. So once the one experiment is done, you wash it, you rinse it, whatever, it is done, finished, even the cleaning is done. Now, I had one thesis on it where we validated the cleaning procedure. right?
Absolutely.
So once you are done with the cleaning procedure you have used has really removed the contaminants from there, whether even be a slab of the lab, not only instruments. So we use the cotton swab, and we passed it that swab from those slab and the instrument, and dipped it in the buffer system or alcohol, whatever be the solution system, and we checked it whether it is really
Quick one.
clean or not. Yes, Dr. Kataria.
Yeah. Well, your point is valid. The same practices we also follow practically in our industries also. Especially if you see you can't take generally, because food also has various risk factors are there, like baby food, very highly risk. Then milk and dairy products, those are very highly risk, because there are certain bacteria which may grow very faster in that one. Then you have meat and meat products. I think Mr. Rama will agree on that one. So those industries, at least in UAE and Gulf country, I know they have been following very strictly. Like when they have the cold storage, after cleaning, deep cleaning, those are doing the web testing, swab testing. They will swab it and see if the bacteria are there. And you told about the medical. In medical examination also, there we ensure that what you call it, these people are not having contagious diseases. That so those are doctors are taking care. And other thing which you had told about this residue of your this pesticides or fertilizer, that now the new standard, new guidelines requires the food has to be tested for pesticides, residue of pesticides and all. And plus, apart from that, also now they have added allergen also. That we are going to talk in next session, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I would add on,
Thank you.
if you allow, I would add on, Ms. Ramajendra had mentioned the diseases for the food handlers, or the way they handle the food. So, see, yes, because the disease is very important. So, where is the checkpoint an industry has to put is whether the person is fit to serve that industry or not, and which area. So I think they have to, they should undergo timely test for all this. Yes,
Correct.
And how my question is how to assure at the end the quality.
Yes.
Maybe today it is tested. 15 days back it was all good. For the food quality to change, it just takes a minute or an hour. So
Correct.
how often a quality should be checked for the industry in a and who all should be appointed? What should be the checkpoint?
Yes.
So this is important.
Yeah, this I would like to hear from Ms. Ramajendra. That is one point from my side also, in addition to Dr. Udichi. One is that medical examination. The question which I have asked Dr. Udichi also the same thing, because their medical examination is there, what's supposed to be there, that is sometimes not known, and what is the frequency and how it is to be validated, because it is every day it is changing. This medical examination report and all those things, every day it is a requirement. So what is the practice in the industry now?
Yeah, it's a very good question to the both, because so everybody is also aware, because all of us is asking on that question. When do are going to undergo the staff for training for medical examination, right? So what are those parameters or diagnosis that we are going to do when it comes to medical as a quality assurance? Who is not aware, or who have limited understanding on what is the medical? Actually, medical examination is a requirement also as well of each country. Because, for example, here in Philippines, we are requiring the staff undergoing to work every year. For a health card, they should have that health card every year. For the Middle East, they also require every year. So for the what are the parameters? Like, is it Hep B? Is it tuberculosis that we are going to test, right? For the blood, for the what are the samples? So it's the government rule who will tell what is that requirement that they will be asking. Like, for example, in the United Arab Emirates, that requiring their staff for the Hep B examination, for the X-ray, to check the tuberculosis. So the government will give now the certificate. They are fit to handle food. So that evidence itself, that paper itself, meaning your food handler can handle food. So you cannot question the system that you have because you are following the regulation, the local regulation that you have. Are we clear on that? And also in the Philippines, we are not requiring for the AIDS. You know, the AIDS virus. Okay, but in the other country, they require that examination. So if you are a food safety manager and you are in this country, you should know what are the requirements of that particular country, because it will be a cost on you, and it will, example, you are lacking on that on that HEPA B, which is the requirement of that country, then still you did not comply with the requirement. But if you have that certificate, that fit to work or health card on each local government, then meaning you follow what is in the regulation. Now, the question that you are telling me, oh, how will I know? That is every year, when the quality issue is every minute, right, Dr. Udichi? That's a very good question. Yeah, because how will you know? Yeah, fit to work is only every year. So how will I sure that that stuff he's only fit when maybe tomorrow he's infected? Okay, the government give him the fit to work card, but he's infected after 3 days. That's a very good question. Okay, that answers the training of the staff. It's part of their training. When you train them, let them sign the attendance, let them sign the training. In the training, you elaborate them that when you have trained with the proper personal hygiene, when you have symptoms and illness that you think that you are not ill, you should report to your supervisor. So meaning if you have food poisoning on that minute, or after they have that fit card, after 5 minutes you have food safety issue because of your staff, then it's your staff to be blamed because they did not inform their manager. So are we clear on that?
Yeah, it's very well clear. And for our beer, the medical examination, as Mr. Ramachandran also told, it is a country specific and state specific sometime also. But now Food Safety Standard Authority of India has taken this regulation, and they are going, and all these requirements are given in Schedule 4 of Food Safety Regulation 2011. So what all things supposed to be checked there, and the frequency is also very, very well given. Only the thing is, there are a lot of acts and regulations are there, but we are not aware of those things. That is the key area. I'll wanting to know from Dr. Sundar Kataria, because he is well aware of many rules and acts. When he goes particular to the person, he is not aware, but he is very much part of that.
Thank you. What Rama has told is important. One is the training. Unfortunately, over here, people don't believe in training. Where it is it should be a mandatory requirement. People should be trained regularly. They should be updated with the requirement. Plus, another thing, what is important, of course, our standard authority wants testing once in a year. But unfortunately, our authorities who are there, the inspector, food inspector, when they go, they find, like Udachi, Professor Udachi told, that Rajgiri, there was a problem and so many people fall sick. What action was taken by the authority? No action would have been taken, I'm sure. they would have delayed legal proceedings and in cold storage. Wherever, if you take a UAE and Gulf, they would have taken action and his manufacturer should have stopped manufacturing. His license would have cancelled. That is the thing they do in UAE, and that's why that food is very safe there. Okay, another thing, I don't say our food is not safe. That is, our food is also safe, but malpractices are there. That has to stop. Okay, another thing, as she told this Raman Jatra, that our food manager has to work. He has to be active. He should know all the rules and regulation. Because like this, now you can't control the once in a year is like the minimum requirement, but nobody is stopping you taking 6 months. That company organization can take care. And plus the manager, if he found anybody having problem, health problem, he should immediately isolate him, send him for the rigorous testing in the hospital, whatever tests are required. And then only if he's found fit, then he should be taken. So that is my personal view on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you allow, can I add a different flavor to this discussion?
Sure.
I don't know whether it suits you, but I do follow yoga and I practice meditation regularly. So it is anyways written from since ages, you know. When we talk of cleanliness, when we talk of hygiene, I don't know how Mr. Amarajendra is gonna relate to it, but I am pretty sure all Indians can relate to it. It is already written in our Yoga Sutra that there are 8 limbs of yoga. So yoga is just not moving your body here and there, and that is just one part of yoga. So it is written that it starts with 8 limbs. So it is right. Niyam is the second one. Okay, niyam is the second one. So what is niyama? Niyam is how we deal with ourselves. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one is yam. That is how we deal with someone else. The second one is niyama, how we deal with ourselves. So this is how we take it. Okay. So yam is how we talk to other, how we maintain the hygiene with others, how it should be. Niyama, you know, there are again 4 points, which first starts with shouch only. Shouch in that is the Sanskrit word, which means cleanliness and hygiene. It is written in Yoga because it is 5,000 years back. So once you practice cleanliness, then only the penance, the devotion, and the self-study comes. So it first cleanliness and then the devotion comes. It is written. Yes. So how it is now, because we really misinterpret so many things, cleanliness has to be through both inside the body and outside the body. Yes. So it brings the self-discipline. So now if the water has to run outside the body, it has to run inside the body also to keep you disease free. So that there is absolutely better functioning of the body when you drink a lot of water, and when it runs out on the body also, you have that physical hygiene. So I have seen people, if you are found disease, if you are feeling sad, if you are feeling depressed, just keep away yourself from the people for at least 1 or 2 days. And it is naturally given from the nature in our body. When we are ill, we don't like to talk to anyone. We keep ourselves isolated. Though Corona has already made it realize this thing, you know, but this is happening. So when we are talking of the training in the industry, it is a self-discipline which reflects there.
Absolutely.
See, suddenly a Corona has taught us not to sneeze this way and sneeze this way. See, this is from moving from this to this when you are with people or doing something, because you are into food industry, you are gonna use your hand.
Correct.
So the basic self-discipline will actually enhance and promote this working style of the person. So in training, we can just tell you it is A, B, C, D, C, E things. We can just tell you, but to inculcate and incorporate in our lifestyle, it is our own self-discipline. So that first thing is to start with cleanliness and hygiene from home, and then
Yes.
it can carry forward.
And that too, this topic also, it is the personal, because that individual has to have this aspect known. And it is very well said, one of our viewer in chat box, that it is this food safety standards is not for only for certification. It is for everyone. And it is right when the food starts and goes into the stomach of a body. So it is linked to every aspects there. So you have rightly said that we have to have and go back to our niyama and see and learn things from there. We in our home, we being very strict, everyone, not even one, everyone. But when we go on the street, or when we go into the restaurant, or when they thinks that safety, food safety, for me it is not there, so I'm doing it like that way. We are falling short of time. I'll take a closing remarks from Dr. Kataria first, and then Mr. Majendra.
Yeah, as I told Niyama and the training, these are two important things. Now I can give you one live example. We had been 2 years back to Delhi and went to a very good restaurant, excellent restaurant in Connaught Place. This is a beautiful, known for his food and a lot of things. So we had a big company. Now what I'm trying to say, it is our responsibility, consumer. They are lacking somewhere. We are lacking somewhere. Like this hotel, this restaurant, sorry, big restaurant, more than 100 people can sit and dine. And there, the buffet was there. We opted for buffet. We went for buffet. Then we saw there was I think she was supervisor, or she was the maybe wet footballer supervisor. Then we saw one of our colleagues, our friend, when we are dining in there. Then she was very much attracted as Indian with the sweet tooth. So she went around that sweet corner, and she was just putting finger in one or two of this one, as licking and testing it.
Yes.
Okay. Now it means she was not trained.
You are not.
Second thing, the consumer, as a consumer, one of my relatives immediately, he quietly saw it and then went and talked to the manager, told, what is this happening? We are going out. He threatened that we are going out. We are about 10 people. He told, if such thing is happening in your restaurant, how can we believe your food hygiene, food safety?
Yes.
What we are eating, we are not going to fall sick. So it is our responsibility also. So that is the most important, and we have to take care. And even when I was auditing one this air chef, there also I saw some of the things. Our best chef, after going to toilet, he didn't wash his hand properly. Now, how you can check all this? This has to come with the self-discipline. Niyama.
More with the training, yes. More with the training. Yes, I would like to have the closing remarks from Mr. Ramajendra on this particular session. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much to all of you. It's a very good discussion between all the participants and all the one organizing this type of session. So thank you so much. I have learned a lot from you, and hopefully in the future we can learn from each other in every topic that we will be discussing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And this particular topic, personal hygiene, this is our responsibility to at least communicate and train at least 10 people in the next seminar when we meet. So we must say that these particular information is shared with our 10 colleagues or 10 friends or 10 family members. And this is only going to help because it is from the inside. One person, one himself must feel that I must remain healthy to keep other healthy.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Dr. Odichi. Thank you, Dr. Kataria.
Last word, I would say, this has to start it in the school with our children so that they cultivate good habits,
Absolutely.
attitude. Thank you.
I'm just saying, Mr. Sumit Kataria also, I would like to him to have his view also on this, sir.
Nothing from my side, sir. I think we're running late already. I'd just like to add on two components which I think are prima facie very important when it comes to food hygiene. Point number one, I think, is competence. In India, the competence is something that is not focused upon. So everybody is a food handler and everybody is competent to cook. Degrees in food, people take degrees in food, but it is the least of the most popular. Home science, I remember my mother is a home science grad, and she proudly says that I cook well because I know the intricacies of cooking and I know the ins and outs. I think in India, it doesn't work like that. In India, most food handlers just about don't focus on the competence of people who are cooking. They become good professional cooks by out of experience. So they've been on the pan and they try and become, good cooks. That is one thing where they miss out on the intricacies of food. When food becomes hazardous, the kind of HACCP points on food, like what is thawing. Half of our population doesn't understand thawing. We store meat at less than 16 degrees and we expect it to be good for, a week in our refrigerator. We don't understand. So I think a technical competence is one of the key things that has to be there, which is not there. Point number two, we in India believe that one size fits all, which is not the case today. Today, the world is changing, everything is changing, and we are going to more specific modules for everybody. So risk assessment is very important. If I'm cooking pastas, the risk which is going to be there in cooking pastas is going to be totally different from handling fisheries or handling meat or handling dairy products. And thereby taking a cue from where Ramachandra said, and she very beautifully said, she kept saying that, we do Hep B, because Hep B is contagious and it spreads very fast. Hepatitis B is what we call it here, and it spreads very fast. Tuberculosis is, again, these are sector specific, industry specific, may apply to one industry, may not apply to other. But what we have is we just pick up some manual and try to replicate it across all sectors. That's something that we do wrong. We have to understand what is my food chain, what am I doing, what are the risks associated in what are the contaminants that I am dealing with, and then I need to charter out what kind of health checkups I need to do at what spans. These are the two key takeaways that I would expect that industry focuses on. One, competence. Two, you need to have a specific health charter for yourself. Working at height may be very crucial for one company, but may not be at all required in any food handler. So but then we try to adapt standard practice ki koi bhi doctor ke paas chale jao, ek fitness certificate le aao. Just get a fitness certificate from that does not help, because if you've got tuberculosis, if you've got hepatitis B, you're going to be sweating all over the place. That sweat is going to be transmitting diseases. You're going to contaminate people. You're going to contaminate food. So it's a different ball game altogether. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for asking, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And so we must take our personal health and personal hygiene. That is the key message from here. And we must understand the acts, the rules which are to be applicable to the various industries. And that is our social responsibility to keep ourselves safe, to keep others safe. Thank you very much. And over to Shushma.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for such a wonderful panel discussion. Next session is on 22nd January 2022. It is a 60-second virtual webinar on the topic Food Hygiene and Food Safety Series Pest Control. Indian timing 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Speaker is Mr. Sumit Saxena. ICS is pleased to provide you all its research and development, integrated management system, QMS, CMS, and OHSMS, excellence in education management, ISO made easy in Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, and Hindi. If you want to purchase, you can contact the below details. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgunsang.org and go in your login and give your feedback. Thank you for being a part of the Sadgun Sang on personal hygiene. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
जाने वालों जरा मुड़ के देखो मुझे एक इन